Oyez, oyez, oyez. All manner of persons having aught to do before the Honorable, the judges of the several courts, being held this day, in and for the county of Lackawanna, come forth and give your attendance, and you shall be heard. God save the Commonwealth and this honorable court.
Trying to fit the judges in here, sort of like being at the Thanksgiving or Christmas table at your grandmother's, trying to figure out where everybody sits. We finally figured it out thanks to our court administrator. I wanted to say welcome to everyone. This is really a glorious day in the counties. As I said, the swearing in last week. It's really a time of joy, which is not adversarial. It's a time of really community gathering together and to really look at who the people elected and to watch as they go ahead and take their oath of office. And the oath of office, well, on one hand, it is the official starting. It's really the candidate who is swearing or affirming that they're going to uphold the responsibility to the people. The office of district attorney, I believe, is one of the most important offices that any person can hold. And we are very proud of the people of Lackawanna County and who they selected. And as a court, we know the seriousness of that office, and we intend to hold it to it. That being said, we are honored today to have with us a distinguished member of the bar, the district attorney's wonderful uncle, James Powell III. Well, we're going to invite you anyway, please.
The Honorable Judges of the Court of Common Pleas of Lackawanna County, Honorable Judges of the Middle District of Pennsylvania, Senior Joseph Quinn, the Honorable Matt Cartwright, the Honorable Bob Casey, and any members of the minor judiciary that are here today, all members of the House of Representatives, all office holders, all members of our Bar Association, all of our friends, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the installation of Mark Powell as the District Attorney of Lackawanna County. We'll first call upon Monsignor Joseph Quinn, and I think everybody knows Monsignor Quinn. Well, many may not know, may be surprised, is that he was Attorney Joseph Quinn before he became a Roman Catholic priest. Mark was talking about it the other day and wondered if Monsignor might want to come back. As an assistant district attorney. After second thought, he decided that since he was going to put every drug dealer in jail, Monsignor might get in the way because he might be more interested in saving their souls. I think that Monsignor Quinn would be surprised when I tell him that I'm Mark Powell's godfather, and it is I who has led him. It is I who convinced him to send his children to Jesuit Run Prep and Holy Cross. By the look on his face, he didn't buy anything. Monsignor, can you grace us with the prayer?
And for the record, Jim, Monsignor Quinn was also formerly Judge Joseph Quinn. Still shocking.
Yeah.
Thank you, Uncle Jim. Only in our part of the world do we open a ceremony like this with the Godfather. That's an Irish name, that just doesn't all fit together. I am grateful for the kindness of your words and the memories, and it is always a great privilege to return to a familiar setting, to a world that was mine before I discovered something called liberation theology. That's how I was freed. That's how I moved on a new life. But I am honored and humbled to be here today with Senator Casey, Congressman Cartwright, President Judge Brace, and the honorable judges of this court, and the court across the street, my former home there as well. Along with the esteemed members of the Lackawanna Bar Association and all the many guests who so are warmly gathered on this otherwise frigid day. I can make you feel better about the weather today. I don't happen to even know, but in North Dakota, the city of Bettinger, yesterday the temperature was 45 degrees below zero. So feel warm. Especially by the warm-hearted reason that brings us here to joyfully witness truly a historic moment in the life of our beloved Lackawanna County. I say historic, not just because of the obvious that will be touched upon here today, I'm sure, but also because a little over 25 years ago, it was my sacred privilege at St. Peter's Cathedral to celebrate the wedding of Donna and Mark. And little did they realize that when the year 2017 would conclude, and they find themselves here at the cusp of a new year, they both come to know anew the fuller meaning of the words that they took that day as their vows, when they promised to love each other in good times and in bad, for richer or poorer, for better or worse. And no, I'm not describing the campaign. I'm describing a long journey that brought you here today, along with this holy quartet of yours, Patrick and Mara and Ryan and Maggie, who so proudly sit here with their parents. All the more reason, I guess, for us to pray today, for into today walks tomorrow. And we pray for Mark, we pray for our county, we pray for all whom he serves. And I'd like to turn to the timelessly inspiring words of the patron saint of lawyers and judges, St. Thomas More. Like our community's newest public servant leader, Thomas More was known for his humanity, his humility, his sense of humor, and most of all for his singular spirit of integrity. So I ask you all to stand. Let us bow our heads, unite our hearts in prayer on this truly historic day. Loving God of compassion and justice and mercy, we pray this morning for the peace and the safety and the unity of our entire community. We pray for all those who strive to so selflessly serve its people and their many needs. In a particular way today, we pray fervently for our newest servant leader, Mark Powell, who this day assumes as many responsibilities and duties as our district attorney. May his tenure of service be undertaken and lived with a sustained zeal in the pursuit of true justice for all, and always be marked by a genuine spirit of visionary courage, inclusiveness, and true integrity. May he and all who serve along with him be diligent in study, accurate in analysis, correct in conclusions, able in argument, courteous with adversaries, and most importantly, ever patient, honest, and attentive to conscience. What Thomas More would say is at the top of the list. And Lord, may we all help him and all of our servant leaders with our continued prayers, our support and encouragement, as we strive to truly be one people, to sustain the care, safety, security, and oneness of heart of our shared community. Asking all of this in God's holy name. Together we say, Amen.
Amen.
Amen. God bless you, Mark, now and always. As your father Chris and your grandfather James look down from on high, with smiles and disbelief.
Remain standing, please.
Won't you all join me as we pledge our allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of
Ladies and gentlemen, please be seated, and we are honored here today to have Representative Matt Cartwright.
Uncle Tim's going to introduce you.
Okay.
Matt gave me a card a few minutes ago before I came up here, and he asked me to figure into the speech, weave it into his introduction, some of his, what he believes are his attributes. Brilliant, tough, knowledgeable, no nonsense, great congressman, and good looking.
Thanks, Jim.
It could have been worse, he could ask for a donation.
Traveling around the county and listening to what a lot of women thought of my cousin Mark, I'm sure Matt's been replaced in a good-looking character. However, if he'd like to fight and would like to get the title back, I suggest that he hires the photographer for the Scranton Times. Walk around. Matt Cartwright, a very skilled and experienced civil litigator, told us he was going to leave the profession and be a politician. We all thought he was absolutely nuts. And we all thought that Matt would be back sooner than later. However, he actually loves to be our congressman. He is a great congressman. He does everything for the benefit of all of us. And I don't think he'll ever come back. He is very bright. He is very knowledgeable. And he has a grasp of all the issues that face us today. But his personality, I think, is his main attribute, because with it, he crosses the aisle and comes up with some bipartisan votes in a day and age when it's almost impossible. It's well known that if the political climate ever changes in Washington, Matt will vault forward as a real leader in a Democratic party. And be a very, very powerful voice for us in Congress. Matt Cartwright.
I want to say thank you, Jim, and thank you all for being here. This is a momentous occasion, seeing my friend Mark Powell sworn in as your DA. Senator Casey and I were just chatting about this courtroom and what a historic courtroom it is, and how many cases we tried in this courtroom. It's bittersweet for me because Judge Jack Catone had this courtroom for many years, and I tried a lot of cases in front of him, and of course we lost him last year. But you know, so many greats, many of whom are here in the courtroom today, tried cases here. And I have a picture in my office down in Washington of Clarence Darrow in this courtroom in 1903 while he worked for the United Mine Workers. It's an amazing place and altogether fitting that you be sworn in here today, Mark. So we just finished the Pledge of Allegiance, and it finishes with justice for all. And we're going to be talking about delivering justice for all a lot here this morning, I'm sure. Here in our nation, we are a nation of laws, and justice is delivered by adhering to the law and enforcing the law. And, you know, I mentioned Clarence Darrow, but probably the best trial lawyer that ever lived in our nation was a New Hampshire man named Daniel Webster. And Webster said this about the law. He said, "The law, it has honored us. May we honor it by enforcing it to the fullest measure? Well, you know, the law doesn't enforce itself, and we depend on solid people of great integrity to enforce the law. We are so fortunate. You know, I don't mind telling you, I've tried cases, I've appeared in courtrooms all over Pennsylvania and in several other states, and every time I come back here, I thank God for the people of justice in our community. We have a bench that is so deep, that is so full of people who are hardworking and caring and full of integrity, people that bring these things to work. And I know that everybody in Lackawanna County should be justifiably proud of our bench and also of our district attorney's office. The men and women who have peopled and staffed our district attorney's office for as long as I've been here and many, many years longer have brought credit upon our county. And many of them are here today, former district attorneys. I saw Ernie Creeding here. Here's Ernie. I saw Paul Mazzoni here. And Mark, you have big shoes to fill. An honored tradition to follow. And I want to say that in addition to being satisfied and well pleased with our bench, and also with our federal bench, whom are here today as well, we ought to be very happy and content and satisfied that we have had, number one, we had a lot of great and worthy candidates for the job of district attorney this time, and that the eventual winner was somebody that we can repose great faith and trust and confidence in, because it is in the enforcement of the law that the DA is entrusted, not only prosecuting cases, but deciding which cases in the great discretion that we entrust to the DA ought not to be prosecuted. So I'm here to say I've known Mark Powell for a very long time. In fact, as I mentioned about this courtroom, some great lawyers tried cases here, and I was here for Mark Powell's first trial in this courtroom. He did such a good job, nobody could believe it was his first trial. So we're looking for great things from you, Mark, and I wish you all the best and great fortune, and it is a great fortune of the citizens of our county to have you sworn here, and sworn in here as our district attorney. I wish all the best to the entire extended Powell family and the Powell law firm, and even Uncle Jim.
Senator Robert Casey's grandfather and Mark Powell's grandfather started working in the mines at 10 years old to help support their immigrant families. Can you imagine today, in this day and age, even considering your child doing that at 10 years old? Well, both of these men became very successful lawyers in the early 1900s. And truly remarkable. Mark's father, Chris Powell, a well-known attorney, would always comment when thinking of his father and the men of the past, that those were the days of the iron men and the wooden ships, and now it's just the opposite. Grandfather Casey had a son who ended up governor of Pennsylvania, and has another son who's a United States Senator. Very remarkable. The Caseys never forget their roots. They always know where they started. Every bill that Bob Casey introduces is always for the benefit of the descendants of those immigrant families. And every bill that he opposes is because it's voted with special interest and there's not enough in there for our working families. The Casey name is synonymous in politics with the words honorable, trustworthiness, unselfish, true public servant, and untouchable. Bob Casey will always do what he believes is right for all of us. He possesses the same qualities as his father. Though, if you knew both, he is a little bit milder than Spike Casey. If the political climate ever changes in Washington, he will be a very powerful force to ensure that no one is ever left behind. The United States Senator Robert K.
This is a great day for our county, for Lackawanna County. It's also a great day for the Powell family. And Mark and Donna, I want to congratulate you on this day. And I was remarking earlier to your children, to Maggie and Maura and Patrick and Ryan, about when I sat in that same position. I was 9 years old. My father was taking the oath of office for the second time. The first time he did as a state senator, I was too young to remember. But when I was 9 years old, I remember that day that he took the oath. And I can say without any doubt, for you, each of you, this day will not just be a day you remember because of the significance of it in the life of your dad and your mom, but it'll also be a day that you can continue to draw upon for inspiration. And I can say that all these years later, fortunately for me, that was only the first time my father took the oath. He got a couple more chances. So I want to congratulate your family. United States Representative Cartwright, I want to thank Matt for his words today and for his exemplary public service. Judge Barres, you and this distinguished panel of judges here in Lackawanna County were honored to be in your presence and to be in this courtroom again. Matt had more success in this courtroom than I did. The first time I appeared here, you all remember, it was February of 1991, and I was examining a witness here my second day practicing law. It was Tuesday, because my mother's birthday was February 11th, the day before. And I was second chair to Joe Wright, and it was a barroom fight. We had the defendant, of course. And the assistant district attorney wasn't Andy at that point. Andy had already been above that at that point. He was the DA. But I got my tail kicked right here. And I think the first three questions were objections, all sustained. I don't know about great memories of the court, but I know it is historic. To Jim Powell and the entire Powell family, the Powell law firm, I was doing a little bit of reading about the history of the firm just this morning. Chris, I'll try not to recite all of it, but we're honored by the presence of those in the firm. Monsignor Quinn, my old friend, I'll say my friend of long standing. We're honored you're here today, and honored as well by your continuing mission in ministry in this community, and especially that ministry we probably need it now more than ever in our country. Just a couple of observations about today. Today's a celebration in so many ways. That's what Judge Barres indicated earlier. It's a celebration of so much, but I guess I'll limit it to three. Number one, it's a celebration of public service and the work of justice. I was recalling words my father used when he talked about justice. Probably said it as well as anybody. He wrote it in a book because he felt so strongly about it, wrote about his own life. But when he talked about justice, he said that the most important quality a public official can bring to that office is a passion for justice and a sense of outrage in the face of injustice. I have no doubt, Mark, that you'll bring that to this office. both the passion for justice as well as the outrage in the face of injustice. Public service. I had the chance to serve in Harrisburg in a building where they had the wisdom years ago to inscribe precepts around the entire building, the finance building. In the front of that building is probably the best description I've ever heard of public service, but also, by extension, what an election means when you're elected to public office. It says this on the front of that building: all public service is a trust given in faith and accepted in honor. Perfect description of what our system is supposed to be every day of the week. It's supposed to be a system where someone is given public trust, and that person must accept that trust with honor. And you have to earn it every day. It's not conferred on you. You have to earn it every day. And again, Mark, I have no doubt that you will accept that trust with honor. Today is certainly a day to celebrate both transition and the continuity of office. We sometimes take that for granted. We see people being sworn in every January to different offices. But there are a lot of countries in the world where that's not possible. Or if it is, it's accomplished with a great deal of difficulty. So we celebrate that today. And third and finally, this is certainly a celebration of family. Not just the family of this county and the family of judges and prosecutors. We have federal district court judges here as well from across the street. But it's also a personal family celebration. There's no question about that. In so many ways, the work that you did, Mark, and you and Donna did, and your family did, and your friends, is an extension of or an example of what this region has always been about. This region, if you wanted to define it in a couple of words, is a region that manifests both hard work and sacrifice, and you to do both to get to today. It's also, I think, a remarkably interesting day when you consider your own family's history. Your family history personally, the history of the law firm, but also the history of your grandfather and your father, both of whom would be remarkably proud. Both of them I did get to know, and I wish I did. I was too young to get to know your grandfather, but missed your dad as well. Your grandfather traveled a long distance from the anthracite coal mines to first assistant district attorney. And now you've traveled a distance from first assistant district attorney Powell to district attorney Powell. And I have no doubt that he would be very, very proud. So Mark, on this day, and I know this is expressed in Monsignor Quinn's prayer today, his confidence in what you will bring to this office, but I think all of us share this confidence. We are confident, Mark, that you will accept that public trust with honor. Godspeed and God bless you.
Founder of our special diversionary court, which gives the defendant a second chance in life if he or she wants one. His innovative ideas and programs have resulted in our court system being modeled in the state of Pennsylvania and even nationally. It was recently recognized by being honored nationally, by being made chairman of the National Association of Drug Court Professionals. Michael, will you swear the district attorney in?
Ready there. I do solemnly swear.
Do solemnly swear.
I will support, obey, and defend
I will support, obey, and defend
the Constitution of the United States of America,
the Constitution of the United States of America,
the Constitution of the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania.
the Constitution of the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania.
I will carry out the duties of my office,
I will carry out the duties of my office,
District Attorney of Lackawanna County,
District Attorney of Lackawanna County,
with fidelity.
with fidelity,
So help me God.
and the Powell family. I spent a lot of time with them on the road for the past year and more. So today, congratulations. You leave your civil trial practice behind you. It's come to an end, and you're onto a new and bright beginning. And I wish you all the best. I know you do fabulous, and you bring all those talents that you learned as a trial lawyer right into your office with you. But as I said, I spent a lot of time with the family, and, you know, Mark's secret weapon was Donna and Maggie. Maggie's learned a lot along the way, and the whole crowd. They even brought relatives over from Ireland, right? The army. But I know for a fact that today, Attorney Chris Powell Sr. and Mrs. Nan Powell, who I know very well working as an intern and pseudo-paralegal over in Barrister's Row with the Munley Law Firm, are shining down today, and I'm so happy for you and your family. And I speak for the Munley family. My dad couldn't be here today. He pulled his back out, and I'm not joking, he did. He was at my house today, and he was maneuvering, but he called Uncle Jim and explained. So, but we're happy. We're so thrilled for you. My cousin Christopher's here, certainly Matt Harvey, the whole Munley family's thrilled. So, best of luck. God bless to you, and wish you many satisfying days.
On the other side, a person that knows the district attorney's office quite well, our senior judge, Bob Mazzoni.
Thank you, Mike. Mark, I'm old enough to remember your father as an advocate, and I have seen him in the courtroom many, many times. And we've all had the opportunity to go ahead and witness your trial skills before us. And now you take an office of public service, and you're going to be an advocate, but for a different clientele. Your clientele are going to be the citizens of this county and the citizens of this Commonwealth. And I have the utmost reliability in your courage. I also have the utmost reliability in your integrity, because you've got it in your family. It's a culture in the Powell family, because we've all had the benefit of seeing you both here and both in the trial setting as well. But I have to say this, Mark. I haven't seen my brother more excited to marry his wife. And over the Christmas holiday season, he was calling me Mark. My Tricia says, "Does he know your name?" I said, "It's a little deeper than that."
82 years old, Bob, but
you do come from a family that has a culture of courage and integrity, and we're all confident that you're going to be an excellent district attorney, just like your predecessors, just like your brother, just like your predecessors. And I wish you nothing but the best. God bless, and I wish you nothing but the best in your term of office. Congratulations.
Judge Andrew Turbo.
Thank you. Mark, what a great day for you. The Powell family, Uncle Jim, his wife Kathy, and the people in the Powell law firm, Chris, Amy, Bruce, Carla, Jim, I consider them very near and dear to my heart. They're big supporters of mine for the years, and have been great friends of mine and my family. And I got to know your dad very well in those Wednesday night poker games at Magistrate Lizzie's house. And what a great man. I could just see him looking down upon you at this time with a big, big smile on his face. What a great guy. And since the election day, Mark and I have had a couple conversations, and I can honestly say he gets it. He knows what he has to do as district attorney of Lackawanna County. And the greatest thing that I got out of it, Mark, is the people that you help, the victims that you're going to be helping from this day forward. great deal of satisfaction you're going to get from that. And the only advice that I can give you is don't try to micromanage the office. There's a lot of great people. I see them all here throughout the courtroom. Rely on them and the people that you surround yourself with, because you can't micromanage. And to Donna, one piece of advice I give you, there's going to have some patience, because there's going to be times when Mark comes home, he's flustered or whatever else, and he may not come home for 24 hours, because he's going to be out doing the job of district attorney. So have patience when he has to do his job. And Mark, all I can say is, God bless. I'm sure you're going to do a great job, and my door is always open. So good luck, my friend.
I had to reach around the lamp here. Mark, I'm delighted for you and your family, both your legal family as well as your extended and immediate families. But I can't help but think about your father, because when I came in the door, your father was extraordinarily kind to me. And I thought it was just because he liked me, but he actually liked my mother more. For those of you that don't know, my mother was a rare Italian from Manuka, and best friends with Chris Sr., and he had a remarkable relationship that he told me on many occasions, that she was the prettiest woman from Manuka. I'm not so sure that's accurate, but I like to believe it. That's what's special about these days. Lackawanna County has deep roots, and the roots are within the families that have been extended together for generations. And I'm sure Trish will talk about that, because the same kind of comments I'm making now can be made about her family and my family in that regard as well. And that makes people have confidence in you as a person, because as was mentioned, you have that culture in your growing up, and people know it because they've known you for generations and known your family for generations. And I think that is what ignited in your campaign. I think people realized when they met you that you were the real deal, and that you were somebody that they could take faith in and rely upon, and that you would have, as was indicated, that passion for justice, as God knows Chris Sr. had, and also that outrage in the face of injustice. I don't think I ever met a lawyer that enjoyed fighting more than Chris Powell Sr. And I say that with the utmost of respect, because he would fight like the Dickens attorney, and he, in front of me when I was a magistrate, I thought I needed a whistle. The referee. and honestly, they walked out, and it was forgotten. It was never personal. And I know that those kind of values will be to your benefit, and you'll do well because of that, and because of your own talent and your own education experience as well. I wish you nothing but the best. Continue to...
Thank you, Judge Graves. Well, first of all, I want to begin by congratulating you and your family on a hard-fought victory. I know firsthand how much you and your family have sacrificed over the last year. The rigors of a campaign can be very, very demanding. But I am very pleased to be here today and be witnessing this momentous occasion. It certainly is a moment in history. And like many here today, I had the privilege of practicing with your father as well. Back in 1988, when I started as a young assistant district attorney, and District Attorney Create was my first boss, your father was still practicing law, and you and your brother and everyone else in the firm, just like your father, were always formidable opponents. You and I, we actually had some cases together, and we actually had, I think, a trial together. One of the many cases, so I know that you are an excellent litigator. I witnessed it firsthand, and I want to congratulate you and wish you the best of luck. I know it's a very important position, and there is a lot of important responsibilities that you're undertaking today, but I'm sure you are up to the challenge. Congratulations and the best of luck to you. And congratulations to you.
Mark, congratulations. It's a particular joy for me today. I have a lot of connections with the Powell family. Your brother Tommy and I used to hitchhike back and forth from high school together with the prep. You guys lived in Music. You didn't quite make it to Avoca, where I'm from. That's a joke, everybody. But we spent a lot of time together. Your dad sometimes would give us rides back and forth, and I got to know the whole family. As I started as a law clerk across the street, one of my first assignments was to work on post-trial motions in a criminal case of your father's, and reading the transcript, just to go off of what Judge Menorah mentioned, you could feel the passion jump off the page whenever your father spoke. And it was really something, and I'm not exaggerating. So I know you take a lot of that history with you in everything that you do, and we're all very, very proud of you. With the race that you ran, and wish you nothing but the best. Our mothers were friends together in Florida for so many years. So I'm sure they're all looking down at you, just beaming with the time, as everybody up here. Best of luck to you, and congratulations.
Mark, I want to extend my congratulations to you and your family. As much hard work as goes into a campaign, there's also something very special when the family gets together and works together. It becomes a great family crusade. And I think Senator Casey referred a little bit earlier to the fact that the effects of family and the belief in family. And I think it's going to give you all great memories for years to come, and I know it will always be one of the proudest days. And as with the knowledge of your father, in 1972, fresh out of law school, I sat in the back of this room many times taking notes of your father trying a case. I still have notes about closing arguments that he did in a particular case that I modeled my own presentations on many, many times. I know that that spirit is felt and imbued here today in a very, very special way. I can imagine just the pride that he must have. Also, I just want to part with, again, borrowing a thought from one of the prior speakers, and that is about the duty to uphold the Constitution. And all too often people think of prosecutors as slash and burn and lock everybody up. And we all know it's far from that. It is uphold, protect, and defend the Constitution. And a conscientious district attorney protects more constitutional rights than a whole army of defense attorneys. We know you're up to the job. I'm very proud that you're being a VA. Congratulations.
Past President Judge Thomas Lunley.
Thank you very much. You hear the way he said it. We love each other, but he always says to me, well, I want you to introduce all the dignitaries here. But I don't know if I have enough time to. So many, Mark, you have so many dignitaries here to represent you. But you know what? I'm going to mention them.
Second ago, I'm not going to mention anybody's name.
I know.
Terry's hiding behind Senator Casey.
I know, you know what? If somebody's elected to office, Mark, they deserve to be mentioned. Then I want to tell you one story about your father. But we have U.S. Senator Bob Casey here, one of my heroes, Congressman Matt Cartwright, a hero of mine. Monsignor Quinn, you were, I'm only mentioning elected people, you were elected by God, Monsignor We have Paul Mazzoni, former DA. We have Mel Mannion, federal judge, Carolyn Mahalchik, federal magistrate here, Kip Adcock, who's going to be a magistrate, John Mercury, Paul Ware, we have Sean McGraw, we have Paul Keel here, we have Terry Gallagher, George Seeger's going to be elected, who's going to be sworn in. And then we have the law officers here I saw. Maury Kelly, Fran Kowaleski, Tim Rowland, Gary DeBilio, Evie McNulty, and Eddie Karpovich. And who did I forget? Sheriff McAndrews here. Who else did I forget?
Commissioners.
I don't see the commissioners. Oh, he's next to Ernie Priade. Okay, I see. Former Attorney General Ernie Priade, John Scanlon, Paul Mazzoni, 3 DAs. Mark, they're here for you. Now I want to tell you one story about your father. I was a brand new lawyer, and I really didn't know what I was doing. Your father took me under his wing, and he said to me, there's a major fight coming up in Scranton. A light heavyweight champ of the world was coming in. you're too young to remember. Your father wanted me to represent, your father was representing the person who didn't get paid to fight this guy. So your father said, well, who did I forget? Oh, Jimmy Connors is here. All right. Thank you so much. Your father said to me, he said, Tom, I want you to come over and watch what I do. We went over to a major fight at the CYC that night. Your father, I'll never forget as long as I live, he said to me, he said, we're going to get the money. My client who's fighting this light heavyweight champ didn't get paid. And all these people from New York, Mark, they were coming in and they were big shots, big names. Your father sat there and he said, I'm going to tell you something. My client doesn't get paid. I'm just standing right next to him. Doesn't get paid. There will be no fight. I will file an injunction, and I promise you, I know a judge will stop this fight. My client wants his money. So to make a long story short, your father got the money for his client, and his client fought that night. But after it was over, your father, I was ready to go home. Your father said, we're not going home now. We're going to Manuka. I have a driver. I limit myself to 2 drinks a night when I walk. So I went out, and after about 8 or 9 drinks, I said to your father, I said, Chris, I have to go home. He said, oh no, you're not going home. We have to go to Diskin's now. So I go over to Diskin's, and I swear to God, Mark, I'm holding a glass. And I had a 9 or 10 by then. I'm holding a glass. Your father's pouring it. You tell him, fill it up, and blah, blah, blah. And I'm looking at your father, and the glass falls right through my hand. And your father said, get him out of here. Your father said he's a lightweight. So Mark, I'm going to tell you something. You have a wonderful family. We're proud of everything you did. We're proud of everything you're going to do as a district attorney. And we're honored that you're here today. Congratulations.
Thank God we only have a couple more judges. Judge Trish Corbett.
Sure, I have to follow one like that. It's pretty hard. Mark and Donna and all of the kids that I watched grow up on the mountain, I could not be more thrilled for you, for a number of reasons. One, because I know that you and I have discussed this, that it's been your lifelong dream. And two, because I also know the tremendous, tremendous pleasure and honor it is to work in the district attorney's office. To this day, it was hands down my favorite job. It's the ability to...
You're a great boss.
He was always so kind. But I'm going to tell you truthfully that when I started there, my mother, who actually I think was very much like your mother, and our fathers were very similar, that they both had passion for their causes, but our mothers had the grace, and I had the honor of knowing your mother, and to describe her as a lady is the best I can think of. A lady from lords and ladies. She was just a wonderful, wonderful person and had tremendous grace and loved all of those kids so very, very much. But when I took the job in the DA's office, my mother said to me, oh, Trish, the DA's office? She said, I never saw you for doing something like that. She said, I always saw you as to be a defense attorney, that you'd be defending people. And I said, well, I am, Mom. I'm defending the victims. But those words were always very important to me. And the only time that I ever liked working for this guy was when I went into his office and I saw a plaque that he had hanging in his office. And I mess it up every time I try to paraphrase it. But essentially it said, it was by Chief Justice Maxson? Chief Justice Maxey that said, it is just as much the job of the prosecutor to ensure that no innocent person is prosecuted as it is to ensure that the guilty are charged and prosecuted. And those words were such comfort to me. As a matter of fact, a couple times I stood up in the middle of a trial and moved for dismissal of a case because I didn't believe that we had the evidence. I know that you will do the same, because when you're running for office, you want to say, I'm going to be tough on crime, tough on crime, tough on crime. And we all need to be tough on crime. But you need, most of all, to be compassionate and to ensure that no innocent person is ever wrongfully accused. Finally, I just want to say that Michael's trying to edge his way into Manuka. He said, I've got Manuka roots too, you know. But Manuka, it's a proud day for Manuka. I grew up as a kid knowing about Chris Powell and the famous lawyer from Manuka that could only stay humble by returning to Manuka, because any good Irishman will compliment around you, but Dibble the man that gets a big head, so they'd never tell him that he was revered. But he clearly was. And Manuka's very, very proud, and I know that your parents are exceedingly proud today. I'm so happy for you.
Mark, I would echo the sentiments of all my colleagues here and everything that they've said, and want to extend my sincerest congratulations to you and to Donna. I've known you all for a long time. My wife Lisa was your children's preschool teacher, and I've also had the good fortune of having you appear before me and try cases before me. And based on my personal experience with you, I know you'll be a tremendous district attorney. In a large part because I think you've inherited the best traits of both your parents. You have your father's passion for justice that Senator Casey discussed, and I had the good fortune to observe him in my early days as a trial lawyer trying cases. You didn't even have to go into the courtroom. You could stand in the hall and you could hear your father advocating his case. I never went on any of the drinking benders that Munley did, but you've also inherited your mother's compassion and kindness. My parents and my Aunt Nancy have always said that your mother, Nan, was the closest thing to a living saint that they ever knew. That she was genuinely spiritual. They never heard her say an unkind word about a soul. And I've always thought that you've had the perfect blend of your father and your mother, and I know that will serve you very, very well as district attorney. I think the biggest adjustment for all of us so far since your election as district attorney, quite frankly, has been having to see your brother Chris's face on the billboards for Powell. Rather than your co-adjustment. Yes, but again, congratulations. The only other additional comment I would like to make, and even though I know it's your day, I would like to recognize and congratulate and thank your predecessor, Shane Scanlon, for his 2 years of service. He's passing the office on to you in very good shape with tremendous staff, and I know you'll do a great job. Congratulations.
Mark, the office, as a report about what Trish said about George Maxey, who was formerly the district attorney as well as a former Supreme Court justice in Pennsylvania, who obviously was the only other Supreme Court justice outside of your grandfather, or Michael Egan, did believe and actually wrote about justice as a district attorney. It was not about the political part, even though you had a partake in it. It was a necessary evil of the job. But it really was determining the facts and looking at saying who are the true victims and whether or not a case should or should not be prosecuted. And I think it's one of the most solemn vows and most difficult task for a DA, because often you have, whether it's the public that's uninformed, don't have all the facts, or whether it be the media that's clamoring for a prosecution, that the district attorney to realize that their solemn oath is to make sure that cases that shouldn't be prosecuted aren't. And on the other hand, making sure that the office is manned people, men and women, that take the oath seriously in regard to fervently prosecuting those that should be. I can say that I look at, as a judge now, roles are very much different. But I also think time has changed. And that when we go back to the cases that people were talking about, Chris Powell Sr., and I had two great cases with him, one with Judge Munley and a different Judge Munley. But it was, many of the defendants you saw were clearly, as in Latin they would say, mala per se. They were bad people. Today, unfortunately, many of the crimes that are being prosecuted are mala prohibita, whether it be the drugs, whether it be because of addiction or mental health that we're seeing so many people prosecuted. It doesn't mean that they don't need to be prosecuted, but there has to be an understanding of what the underlying problems are and how it should be resolved. It's not always by netting and pulling in more people into the criminal justice system. I think your job today is more difficult than all the DAs in the past because of that problem of trying to weed out who truly needs to be prosecuted and those that need to be held accountable, but also treated. So it's a very difficult task that we take on. I've got to say, being against your father, he was always well prepared. He made sure that he took you right in the line in regard to make sure you prosecute the case. My best memory with him was after the trial, though, and after we finished the trial, he said, "Come on, kid, we're going out." And myself and Jimmy Walker were with him across the street to now the Radisson station, and it was around the holidays. And so I had both the taste of both your father and mother, because later on he called for your mother to pick him up. And I've got to say, while she was wonderful to me, I truly saw who ran the house that night. Which brings me down, it is going to be, as Andy said, it is difficult on a family in regard to it. It's a task that really takes in on a lot of hours, but bad days. It's not always dealing with the easy part of life. So you are equally taking on a huge responsibility here. While he took the oath of office, you have taken on a huge responsibility that citizens of Lackawanna County will never know how much work you put in. So we thank you in advance. We saw what you did on the campaign trail, and know that you will be a partner of Mark as he moves along. We as a bench are thankful that everyone is here today. It is truly remarkable to see a community come together, as was mentioned by Senator Casey in regard to transitions and what happens after an election. This is about all the people of Lackawanna County, not a particular party, not a particular office. And we as people from Lackawanna County citizens join together, as we always do, when times are rough or times are good, to support our people. And today we're here to support you as you move on. Thank you very much for running, and thank you for all the efforts you put forth for people of Lackawanna County.
Thank you. I believe I speak for the whole Powell family when I tell the board that we appreciate all the comments about Mark's father. I truly Uncle Chris. I'm not so sure if it's better being an uncle or a godfather. I haven't figured out which one's older. Gene Talarico was a formidable opponent, but so was my cousin Mark. You probably heard by now, he's board certified as a trial specialist in civil law. He's board certified as a trial specialist in criminal law. He has his master's in trial advocacy. He teaches law to law students at Georgetown and Temple Law School. I don't know of any other lawyer in the state that possesses all three. And in addition, he has a fourth. On top of this, he teaches an advanced program for the National Institute of Trial Advocacy in Washington. I don't know of any other lawyer that has all four. Mark Powell has practiced criminal law for many years. tried cases in Lackawanna County and all 6 surrounding counties. Can you imagine, as a district attorney, a defense lawyer trying to put something over on him at this point? It'll be very, very difficult. And very formal. Mark worked harder than anybody I've ever seen in my life to become district attorney. For a whole year he took off, almost every single day, and went around this county to 3 to 4 to 8 different functions asking for people to go for him. Tremendous political work ethic. Now, if you take his achievements and his experience and his work ethic, is that what helped him to win the election? I'm not really sure. I think it's because he's good looking. I'm sure his father is very proud of him today, and so is Donna, Patrick, Brian, Mark, and Maggie. I'm not too sure whether I like him leaving the office. As Bruce Zero said today, he just got 20 more civil cases. I'm probably the only one in the office that voted against him because I didn't want to. So I introduce to you my cousin, my partner, and my godson as the next district attorney. The district attorney.
Thank you all for being here, and thank you for the kind words from the bench, and thank you for the people who are participating in the program. Each of them are very special to me in their own way. I'm sure many of you were surprised to learn that Jim was my godson. I know, what could my parents have been thinking? I'm sure it was his stewardship in the law that they thought I would follow. And I've had the great pleasure of having him as my senior partner for the last 27 years. And I thank him for his unwavering support to get me here where I am today. Monsignor Quinn not only married Donna and me 26 years ago, but is a source of spiritual guidance. And I remember when I met him for the first time in St. Joseph's in Manuka. He was still a lawyer. He was there for a fundraiser to help raise money for a trip to Rome to begin his next journey in life, to become a priest. And we all knew with how well he did, he had found his true calling that night. But he's been a great source, and the whole Quinn family have been close to the Powells for many, many years. Matt Cartwright I met when I was first in college. And Matt's many achievements, including having run for political office, has provided me the courage to run for district attorney. But it's Matt's father-in-law, Bob Munley, who was a true mentor to me. Bob could not be here today. He's on his way to Florida. But we did have an opportunity to chat a little bit over the holiday. And he told me while he achieved many great things professionally, he really just wanted to be the DA. I got the sense, Paul, he was still holding a grudge, but I can tell you he was genuinely happy for me, and I appreciate both Bob and Paul's wisdom and treasured counsel over the years, and I hope to have them for many more years to come. Bob Casey and I were in law school together at Catholic U. Our dads were dear friends. And I'll use this line after Judge Nealon's line, but although we both
emulate our fathers and try to be like them. We're fortunate to have the personalities of our mother. Judge Maurice became DA when I was first sworn in as an attorney, and I watched him transform the district attorney's office to an office that was admired across the state. He obtained grants and extended programs to help constituents. He remained steadfast in his values, but always invoked a sense of fairness. I've had the good fortune to be around many great models, mentors, and masters who advanced principles for the common good. Being the youngest child gives you a unique perspective. You get to learn from others, both their success and their failures. And I have a clear vision and a commitment to inspire the type of improvements that I believe I can implement in the DA's office. I accept and look forward to the challenge. I will expand our community outreach program to help cops better identify where crime occurs, to make our community safer. I will teach the district attorneys how to try cases, and in the process, take a strong stance on crime. And I will extend our efforts to expand and protect our elderly from fraud and abuse. And I will do my very best to help solve this opioid epidemic that's killing our children by providing addicts with help and holding drug dealers accountable. I am focused and will work hard to make our community a better place to live, to work, and to thrive. Tomorrow I will begin my transition, and I'm excited about the challenges ahead. I've surrounded myself with very experienced advisors, and I'm determined to make my vision a reality over the next 4 years. And while I'm excited for the transition, I'm filled with very mixed emotions, leaving a law firm 112 years old and some of the best partners someone could ever ask to work for. Bruce Zero, Jim Mundy, Brother Chris, it has truly been my honor to practice with you, and I honestly hope to return someday.